Hi everyone, I'm Sifujen Sam and I'm back again as the Barefoot Doctor, and I'm going to be explaining a little bit more about spirituality, awakening and being enlightened. Now, I'm not saying that I'm enlightened. All I'm just saying is that I'm just going to talk a little bit about it because I'm on the same journey that I believe everyone is on. And I'd like to just explain a little bit of what I can explain in a simple way that will give you a better understanding that you could make it easier for yourself to reach a level where you're very happy with yourself and that you are on a journey that will awaken you and give you a path that will give you contentment and happiness. So I'm just going to talk very simply about the experience and what I can share with you about what I've learned over the decades of training and experiencing what I've been going through. So I basically put the categories in a certain way so you can understand. And I start off with basically, once you start being spiritual, you're going to feel a good sense of wellness and happiness anyway. And then you're going to start to awaken because you're going to start seeing things differently than what other people see, or you're going to start seeing things differently that you're going to start thinking that you're going a little bit crazy. And then, of course, there's enlightenment, where people say if you become a monk or you're a guru and so on, they're enlightened. And I tell people that I have met a lot of teachers and a lot of gurus and monks, as I was a monk myself, where you can very easily see that there's something special about them. There's this energy, this aura, this sense of well-being being next to them. Now, the other thing that I've always put into my life, and it's something that I've learned from all my teachers and from my father, and that was, he told me that you must learn in your life that you have to learn three very important things. And that is, you must learn to change and you must learn to adapt, and then you can evolve into the best that you can be. And they're the three most important things that I've always remembered: change, adapt, evolve. And what I mean by that is it's all up to you, but I come from a family which is Russian, Romanian, Gypsy Jews. And I've never been comfortable being in one place, in a house and so forth. And I've always asked my mother, why am I always like this? I don't want to stay in one place. I don't want to buy a house and I don't want to be living in a place. And that is because my mother said, you're a gypsy. What do you expect? A gypsy doesn't want to stay in one place. They're going to move. And the other thing I liked was this great teaching is that God gave us feet so that we can move, so that we can walk. God didn't make us into trees where we have to stay put in one place. So I liken it to the Indians, I liken it to all the natives, the tribes, all our ancestors who never stayed in one place. They never stayed in one place. They always moved. They always shifted and moved wherever there was food, wherever they can live peacefully and harmoniously in tribes. So this is what I mean by change. So you have to figure out how you want to change in your life that's going to make you happy. And then, of course, you've got the adaptation. How do you adapt? How are you going to adapt? And I've always been adapting all over the world. I've been traveling every country I can find, from the US to Asia to Europe. And of course, I live also in Australia. And now I've adapted to living in an Asian country like the Philippines, where I'm building and I'm in still construction of the foundation, which is in the progress of building a huge community where I'll be able to explain to you far more about it as I go along. And then you will evolve, because once you've changed and you've adapted to whatever environment you're in, and they always say that you always become who you associate with and what environment you're going to stay in, then you will evolve into the better person that you should be, or you can digress and go into a worse person if you get involved into a different area, in a place which is not safe for you, and of course you associate yourself with people that are not good. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about this because this is something that has really awoken me. I say that to understand a little bit about who we are. What are we? And I say that, like Nikola Tesla said, everything in the universe is about light, vibration, energy and sound. Now, it's not easy and it's not hard to understand that. And what do we mean by light? Light is simple. We can only understand things because what we see through our eyes, we can actually register in our mind, and that comes through light. And the Buddha used to say, form, image, or form, or light is what we register in our mind, and then it's our mind that gives us the concept, or let's just say gives us the perception of what it is that we are looking at. Then the next part is vibration. Now, vibration is the same sort of as sound. Now, vibration is how to understand that is that when you hear something, it's not just sound, it's a vibration that goes into your ear, into the cochlea, and then what it does is it gives you this vibrational pitch or vibrational sound, frequency, sound, vibration, and you learn to decipher that by the way you were taught or by the way you were conditioned. As the Buddha said, we are all conditioned. As a computer is programmed, we are programmed exactly the same way. And then we had energy. Now, energy is very simple to understand. You wouldn't exist without it. I call it calming energy. I call it kinetic energy. I call it energy. Whatever it is movement. It's chi. It is energy. And it's all around us. Nikolai used to say that it surrounds us. It's everywhere. It's in the oxygen. It's in the trees. It's in the ground. And it's scientifically already proven that we are energy or energetic light beings. Now, this is a very simple explanation, and you can go deeply into it. There are so many websites, there's so many people out there who are trying to, scientifically and trying to theorize and to explain to you. But the only way you could truly understand this is that when you experience this and you experience all these things. And I call it that the best way to awaken yourself is that you must connect all the things that you do with these important things. And that is the experience must be connected with an emotion and a feeling connected. Now, this is very important. I call these three things that when you connect an experience that you're doing, whether it's a training, whether it's being with someone, whether it's meeting someone, whatever it is you do in your everyday, every second, thoughts, actions, and reactions, I call it the law of cause and effect. If you connect that to emotions, whether they be good, bad, or neutral, and if you connect that to a feeling, whether it be love, joy, happiness, hate, anger, jealousy, then you are now programming and conditioning yourself for this change, adapting, and evolving. And it's as simple as that. Now, I'm going to give you another little understanding, and I've learned this through the Chinese medicine. I've learned this through years and years of relationships. I've learned this for years and years of basically understanding the duality and the balance, the yin and yang, the man and the woman, which the woman is always the yin and the man is the yang. This is what makes the whole. This is what makes you whole, because we both have 50% of each. And then you also have, that's why when you procreate and you create another being, another child, you notice 50% of the father and 50% of the mother is in the DNA, is in the genetics. And this is the law of the universe. It's a universal law. I go into a little bit more heavier now, into a little bit more deeper level of this thing. And now we know with quantum science and with quantum knowledge and information that we're getting nowadays, now we understand that everything is made out of basically matter and atoms. Now, matter and atoms, I look at it as the 5 elements. 5 elements. Now, what's the 5 elements? Basically, water, fire, earth, air, and there's also in Chinese metal. In some places it's only 4. In Buddhism there's usually only 4. So when you have this matter and atoms with elements, we know that everything everything that is around us, everything that is trees, that is air, that is the ground, that is this board, pen, myself, we are made out of what? Atoms. And we're made out of a matter. And the matter and atoms are all combined together. And what is it that holds it together? How is it that we are created from a single atom? So what holds it together? And I call that the unique energy. And what is that energy? It is everything. And that's why it goes into this energy, vibration, and light. Now, it's a simple explanation. I don't want to get too deep. I never do. I like to keep things simple because that's who I am. I've always been very simple. I try not to put too many conceptual words because words don't really express. How do you express love? You really can't express it. When you're in love with someone, how do you really express it? It's so difficult. It's the same with how do you express jealousy? You've got to experience these things. And this is what I call, and I love it in the way that they say, I can't remember who actually said it, but it's like learning how to swim. How can you learn to swim if you go and study the books, you study how to do the practice, the freestyle, the backstroke, and so forth, and then all of a sudden they tell you, okay, you got an A, you're really good, you memorized everything, you passed the tests, you know how to swim. And then you bring him up into the water or into the pool and then you push him in. He's going to drown because he didn't get into the water. He didn't practice in the water. He didn't swim. And that is a simple thing to understand. And this is what I call about how you will be able to change, adapt, and evolve. And you can spiritually awaken yourself. And even if you're lucky, you can become enlightened. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is just these are the things I've always been asking myself. And I tell everyone that you should always ask these questions to yourself, because if you do, you will always be searching. You will never get comfortable. You'll never stay still because you don't want to stay still because you're not meant to. You're meant to change and you're meant to adapt and you're meant to evolve. And that is what keeps you young, keeps you healthy, keeps you going. Because once you stay stagnant, as the great Taoist masters say, when a door is not well used, it will eventually rust and then you won't be able to open it up anymore. So it's the same thing. You know, the old saying, once you use it, if you don't use it, you lose it. So this is what I say to myself. To understand who you are, you have to ask yourself, why was I born? Why were you born? The other question is, what is your purpose here and now? What am I doing here and now? Who am I? What is your purpose? And why was I born? And I usually do that almost every night when I meditate. Just before I go to sleep, I always ask that question. And I assure you the answer will come because it came for me as it will come for everyone, because we are all connected as one. You will realize that once you join the same path or the same journey that all of us are going. And as my masters told me in a monastery when I was a monk, he said, all of us are on this mountain and we all have this path on this mountain. We're all going up the mountain, going to the top of the mountain. Some of us will fall down and go into another path and get lost into detours. Some of us will get up to the mountain quicker, and some of us will get up there, but we go into longer directions and different paths. But my master said, we all are climbing the mountain of awakening, and we all will awaken. It doesn't matter who you are, you will awaken one day. Now, the last part I'm going to explain is where this all comes together, and it's very simple. What you become through experience is the purpose of what you are searching for. And that's why I told you that the experience with emotions and feelings, when you put those all together in the conditioning and the life that you have, you are going to find that what you become through experience is what you're going to be. And then what you learn through that practice, through knowing. So whether it's martial arts that you learn, or whether it is reading or writing or playing a musical instrument, or whatever it is that you do, even cooking, that experience you get will then come to you. Okay? So, to finish off, I'm going to explain just one more section. What you become through experience is the most important part of what you will learn through practice and knowing. This is why this all comes together through the experience, emotions, and feelings, and that will awaken to yourself, because the practice and the experience, because you know it, will become a way of life for you, which then you will understand who you are. And that's why I always say that you must always ask these questions, and then you must always say to yourself, if these practices and experiences and everything that you do through knowing, and you make it your way of life, and that's who you become, and you know it's going to make you a better you, and it's going to adapt, and you're going to evolve and become awakened, then you know that you are on the right path. So may you be well, may you be happy, and I hope to see you on my next presentation. Namaste.